Good morning. We are still on the system development life cycle. Now we will discuss the detailed feasibility study. I'm your professor, Rebecca R. McKinley. So what is feasibility analysis? So feasibility analysis for the system. Okay. Take note, when you get your system, either you will buy it from the commercial software, or you will hire some in-house developer just to make your in-house software. Okay, so in feasibility analysis, during this analysis phase on system analysis, so it's very important that you will prepare a feasibility analysis or a business case analysis before you will do some remaining steps in the system development life cycle. Okay, so the extent of your feasibility study depends on the size and nature of the system. So we have the team of the feasibility team, which includes, of course, the management. The management must part of the decision making on how to develop the software or where to buy the commercial software. It also include the accountants, which are the skilled workers in controls and auditing. We have also the system personnel, the IT or the programmer, and of course we have the users in the operations. Okay, the feasibility study updates. It updates to the steering committee as the project proceeds to decide whether to terminate the project, whether to proceed, or proceed if there are specific problems are resolved. Okay, so there are 5 aspects needed to be considered during the feasibility study. We have the technical feasibility. Is the technology there to do it? That's the question there. That's the main question. We have the operational feasibility. Do we have people who can do it, and will it get used, the resources? We have also the legal feasibility. Does it comply with legal, regulatory, and contractual obligations? We have also scheduling feasibility. Can it be done in time? We have also the economic feasibility. Will the benefits exceed the cost? Okay. So you need to calculate the economic feasibility, especially on the cost and benefits. So the benefits must be greater than the cost. It's very important and frequently analyzed in the feasibility analysis. So it requires careful investigation of costs and benefits. It typically uses a capital budgeting model that considers the cost savings and other benefits, the initial outlay costs, the operating costs, and we have other costs. So when possible, benefits and costs should be estimated and included even if they are not easily quantifiable. So meaning to say you will consider estimates. No? If some costs and benefits cannot be accurately estimated, they should at least be listed along with the likelihood of their occurrence and their expected impact. So benefits might include the cost savings, the improved customer service, productivity, decision making, or data processing, better management control, increased job satisfaction, and employee morale. So another hand, costs include equipment costs, the initial outlay, plus of course the ongoing operating cost, the software cost, cost of acquiring, maintaining, supporting, and operating, the human resource cost, cost for salaries, cost of hiring, training, and relocating staff, the site preparation costs, the installation and conversion costs, the supplies, overhead, financial charges. Okay, the primary operating cost is maintaining the system, which is usually 65 to 75% of the organization system efforts. Okay, one way of analyzing the economic feasibility is capital budgeting. So most organizations use this method in looking on the return on investment technique to evaluate the economic merits of different system alternatives. So there are 3 commonly used here: the payback period, which calculates the number of years before the new savings from the proposed equal the initial cost of the investment, and it also selects projects with shorter payback period. So usually our formula here is investment over the um, the savings, no? And then or the returns, and then you will, or yeah, the returns, so that you can determine also ilang years ma-achieve, makuha yung ma-break even or magka-profit tayo. So the lower the payback period, the better. We have also the net present value. It calculates and sums the discounted future cash flows of the cost and benefits, and it's also select project with higher positive net present value. And we have also the internal rate of return, which calculates the effective interest rates that would result in a net present value of 0 for the project. So it selects projects with higher IRR. So in this subject, we will not compute for the payback. We will not compute for the net present value and the internal rate of return. So we are more on the introductions or in the ano lang, mga basic concepts, no, on capital budgeting. So we have 3: payback, NPV, and the internal rate of return. So the difference of IRR with the NPV is, if it's a bigger project, you cannot compare if you are using NPV comparing with a bigger project at the smaller project because of the amount of the figures. So we can compare the project using IRR, okay? Because we can identify, we can really compare it, okay? But for the NPV, kasi malaki ang amount, no? For the NPV, dapat high, positive net present value. For the IR naman is higher IRs. Higher internal rate of return is good, no, in projecting your project. Now let's go to the behavioral aspects of change. So we know that system development life cycle, talking about change of the system, talking about change of the software. And if there are change, there are people who are reluctant to change. But plus we know that change is the only constant here in the universe. So meaning everything will change. That's really meron talagang mag-change talaga, no. And then here it says that the best system will fail without the support of the people it serves. So the behavior aspect of change are crucial. So you need to look on it. You need to be aware and sensitive to the types of the behavioral problems that can result from change, especially if you have older employees in your organization. They are really reluctant to change. They are already comfortable with their own comfort zone, so they don't want to adapt change. And there are also people who refuse to change, no? But take note, we need to change for the better of our organization, not for the negative aspect, no? So dapat mag-change for the better, not on the mag-change para magiging bad. No, it's not. It's a different story naman. Okay? So the organization adapt to a new system or use a new software or change their manual system to computerized system because they want to gain competitive advantage over their competitors. That's the target, okay? So as we change our system, we need to be aware of the problems, especially on the behavioral problems of our employees and even on the part of the management. So why behavioral problem occur? Employees will tend to view change as good if they believe it will affect them positively and vice versa. To minimize adverse behavioral reactions, it helps to understand why resistance occurs. Okay, you need to look on the personal characteristics and background of your employees. So employees are more likely to accept change if they are young, highly educated, or comfortable with technology. So as I mentioned kanina, no, itong the older generation, they are reluctant to change, but for the younger generation and highly educated people, and of course, comfortable already with the technology, they really like change. So it depends upon the characteristic and background of your employees. Next, manner in which change is introduced. The rationale used to sell the system may need to vary with the job responsibilities of the employees involved. It also uh, based on the experience with prior change. You can identify already, no? Kasi sabi dito, fool me once, shame on me. Let's see if I even give you a second chance. Okay, so you look on the previous experience of your colleague or your employees. So whether they can adapt to change. Top management support is very important. Uh, the management will support if there is change, no? And the management can give memos to the subordinates to their employees to cooperate with the improvement of the organization. Communication. Communication is also very important when there are changes in the if there are new um, what else new trends or new project that will be introduced in your organization. So proper communication is very important to disseminate those information and help those people analyze or help those people to understand why the company will change, for the betterment of everybody. Biases and natural resistance. Employees may be too emotionally attached to their duties. So again, because there are several cases that because we need to change to the system, there are downsizing of employees, no? Kaya may mga resistance happen. Disruptive nature of the change process, especially if you change abruptly, there would be disruptive nature. Hindi pa siya maka-adapt to the new environment. Okay, there would be disturbance, often create negative feelings. And also fear. It may include fear of the unknown, failure, technology, losing respect or status, or losing their job. Okay, ma-replace naman ang uban, no, with the computers, with the system, etc. How people resist AIS change. So resistance to change often takes one of three forms: aggression, behavior intended to destroy, cripple, or weaken the system effectiveness. Example, increased error rates, disruptions, or deliberate sabotage. Projection, blaming the new system for any and every unpleasant occurrence. The system becomes a scapegoat. To preserve the integrity of the system, this criticism must be controlled or answered. Another, avoidance. If I don't use this thing, maybe it will go away. So it's one form of resistance to change: aggression, projection, and avoidance. Okay, so still we are in the feasibility analysis. So we need to consider those reactions to change, and you can improve it by observing the following guidelines. You meet user needs with respect to the form, content, and volume of system output. Of course, keep communication lines open. You have your cell phone, constant meeting, reminders, emails, what else, memos, etc. Managers and users should be fully informed about what changes are being made, why, how it will benefit them, and who to contact with questions. You also maintain a safe and open atmosphere. So if employees become hostile, it's an uphill battle you probably won't win. And obtain management support also. What's this called? Ally first. To the extent possible, reassure employees. Okay, take away the fears, no, that no major job losses or responsibility shifts will occur. If employees are terminated, there is severance pays, outplacement services should be provided. You will also solicit user participation. It is an ego-enhancing, challenging, and intrinsically satisfying. Users who participate will be more committed to using the system. Provide honest feedback. Explain which suggestions are and are not being used and why. Make sure users understand the system and don't underestimate training needs. It's very important then. What else? Humanize the system. Employees should feel that computer is not controlled. Yeah. Employees shouldn't feel the computer is controlling them or has usurped their positions. Kasi yun ang mga problem ng iba, no? Describe new challenges and opportunities. The system can provide greater job satisfaction, increased opportunities. Re-examine also the performance evaluation. Tingnan natin yung standards, criteria, realistic ba in light of the change. And you'll also test the system integrity to minimize bad impressions. What else? Avoid emotionalism, okay? Because these issues should be cooled down, no? Handled in a non-confrontational manner or sidestep. You present the system in a proper context, address the concerns of the people to whom you're speaking, not the concerns of management or developers, control the user's expectation, don't oversell and be realistic. Of course, no? Keep the system simple. Kaya kung crowded na yung system, complicated, mas nice pa si manual compared to the crowded system. Avoid complex systems that cause radical change. Yes. Still, in feasibility, ignoring the preceding steps can lead to behavior issues that are difficult or impossible to reverse. So that's all. Thank you. So we'll have another one recorded discussion later.